Hi there, I'm Clifford Bates, and welcome once again to Reading Aristotle's Nicomachean Ethics. We're continuing on book 9 of the Ethics, today looking at chapter 7. So let's go turn to the text over here. Those who perform a benefit, seem to love those who receive this benefit more than those who are the recipients. Those who perform benefits seem to love those who receive this benefit more than those who are the recipients of the benefit's love, of the benefit. Love those whom perform it. And this is investigated on the supposition that it occurs contrary to reason. So therefore, this is this argument that there is this problem. This problem is that there is a situation where people seem to, the person who benefits somebody loves that person more, loves the benefactor more than the person who receives the benefit loves the person giving the benefit. But this would seem contrary to reason. So to most people, it appears that one party owes a debt and the other is owed. So one party owes a debt. This party owes a debt to this, and this party is owed this something from them because they did that thing. Just as in the case of loans, then, when debtors wish that those whom they owed not exist, whereas lenders care, where lenders even care for the preservation of their debtors. So also those who perform a benefit wish for the existence of those who receive it, on the grounds that they will, out of gratitude, do favors for them in return, whereas the recipients are not anxious to repay the debt. This idea that there's this problem. You apply to friendship the benefit of giving things to is the same for giving monies or loans to them. And that this is ironic that this guy. I don't like being in debt to this person. I don't like being in debt to this person. Well, this person cares for this because they want the money back. This is that weird thing. This is an argument. You can even apply this to slavery. What? Think about that. The slave is the people think that masters don't care for slaves. Masters have to keep their property. They want something from them. They want labor from them. They own them and they can force them to do it, but they still has to make sure that they're alive and work and fed. So therefore, there is a weirdness to this argument here, right? Whereas the recipient are not anxious to pay the debt, right? Now, perhaps, Epicharmos, the Greek comic poet from Megea of the 6th and 5th century, the context of the saying is lost, and thus not entirely clear whether the base view is a result of the external obstacles, such as being in a bad seat in a theater, or the result of a base character. You don't know. Epictetus would assert that those who say these things take the base view, though it seems characteristically human. In other words, Epictetus said those who you don't want to pay that, who think this way, this takes the base view. But this seems to be characteristically human in that sense. For most people are forgetful of the favors done to them and aim more at being done some good than doing it. This is the condition. This is the most. Isn't there another way to say what Machiavelli says, that men are ingrates? What Aristotle seems to be saying the same thing as Machiavelli. That for most people, they are forgetful. They forget of the good. Now Machiavelli intends it to intent. They're lying. Here, Aristotle assumes that let's forget. They just don't remember. Their memory is short. Their attention span is short. Aristotle attributes. Machiavelli attributes to ill will, ill intention, tried to cheat, or bad intention. Here, Aristotle seems at one level to say, well, it's just their shortness of their attention span. They forget. but they aim more at being done. In other words, they aim more at being done some good than in doing it. So that suggests kind of the cause would seem to have more to do with nature and is not at all similar to the case of lenders. So this idea of doing good is not at all similar. So the example of the money and loan here, in other words, the idea here is that the benefits that done to friends doing the question of loaners and debtors are not the same. The cause have more to do with nature than and is not at all similar to the case of lenders. Lenders feel no friendly affection towards their debtors, but only wish that they be preserved so they cover the debt, right? There's no care. They just want to get the debt. For those who have done others some good, on the other hand, love and are fond of those who are recipients of it. Even if these recipients are not useful to them or might not be such later. So therefore decided they loved them in that sense. So therefore this is the weird thing. This is something what this is they care for them, they have some fondness for them. They love and are fond of the recipients, even if these recipients are not useful to them and might not be such later. In other words, the care of the debtor and maybe even of the master in that sense is the debtor is to require that only that he wants to make sure that the debtor survives so he can recover the debt. Or the same thing with a slave. I want the slave to survive so I can get his labor from him. Right. So it's not a care. There's no real sense of love or affection. It is only that they don't want to lose something. They want the money back, or they want the labor to be done, and that therefore this is a necessary. This is not the reason that the thing is not done. The care or the maintenance of the thing is not that they love in that sense for their goodwill, but rather that they're able to survive, that they can pay us back or to do the service, right? So that even if there's something useful, then later, that's that the friend is the friendship thing here is that they care for them in that sense. So there's a kind of beneficence. So they care, not receiving, wanting to get anything back in that sense, and it may not be even useful for me in the fact, right? This is in fact what happens with artisans. For every one of them is fond of his own work more than he would be loved by that work. In other words, I have a work, I care for that, but that work doesn't care for me back. Okay, loved by that work should it come to have a soul, and this happened especially. This is the robot. Even this robot. The thing made does not necessarily have the thing. This thing's artifice. The artifice. If they had a soul, they wouldn't even care. Even if they had a soul, if they came to have a soul, they would not love you back. This happens especially perhaps with poets, since they are exceedingly fond of their own poems and they feel affection for them just as if they were their children. The case of those who perform a benefit is like this too. For what is received, the benefit is their own work. For those who perform a benefit is like this. For receive the benefit is their own work. Therefore, they are fond of this more than the work is of its maker. So in other words, they are fond of this more than the work is of its maker. In other words, the person receiving it, the good that's being received, and who receives it is not to its maker. I'm, I love my work. It's the artist. The thing I've done is it's like that in that sense. A cause of this is that to exist is for all people something choice-worthy and lovable. So a reason for this problem is because what it is that to exist is for all people something choice-worthy and lovable. And we exist by means of activity, doing things, right? For this consists in living and acting. So therefore, in other words, living therefore, we're fond of this work. Why? The cause of why we're fond of our work is because why we want to live. It's choice where all people exist, and all people, it is something choice worthy and lovable. And we exist by activity, action. That is that is consistent living and acting, right? And in this activity, the maker of something somehow is the work. So therefore, in his activity, the maker of something somehow is the work. He therefore feels affection for the work because he feels affection also for his own existence. So the work becomes a symbol of him in that sense, right? It is natural for what he is in capacity. In other words, if it is, sorry. This is natural for what he is in his capacity or potential, right? Work, the work reveals his activity. Now, this is point 19. Aristotle uses the capacity doumas. This is doumas, this is power. We can say doumas, action, power, capacity, doumas. And activity, energia. That have technical meanings in his metaphysics, right? This is Metaphysics 1050a7, right? This is the metaphysics. And are often translated as potential or potentiality and actuality, right? In the Latin tradition. So he's doing it, they're kind of playing the different word, this capacity, in other words, the capacity here, what is capacity is doumas. And the activity here is reveals in his energia, right? The energia, doumas, and activity, potential, doumas is usually potentiality and actuality, right? Um, if we're being our the Latin conception, right? So it is natural for he who has the capacity or potential. The work reveals in his activity what he does, what is done, what is the energy of it. But at the same time, too, what pertains to the action involved is beautiful, noble, kalos, for the benefactor, so that he delights in the person who is its object. So therefore the question is, what is done? Also the question is, if the action is done involved. So what pertains to the action involved is not at the same time too, right? What is pertaining to the action that's being done, right? The thing that's being done is involved is noble for the benefactor. Kalos, noble or beautiful. Remember, kalos has the double meaning of this beautiful, noble, fine for the benefactor, the one who's the benefactor. In other words, well, the person who is its object, the benefactor. The benefactor is the one doing the good. So he delights in the person who is its object. So the action is noble for the benefactor. By doing it, okay, that's right. It is that the doing of the action makes the doer noble, beautiful. As I said, that the doer of the action is noble and beautiful, and that he delights in the person who is the object of his things. That because by doing this is what it points to my nobleness and goodness. For the recipient, however, there is nothing noble in the person doing it. Here, perhaps there is nothing noble in the deed done. Right? There is nothing beautiful in the deed done. Or perhaps there is nothing noble in the person. There is nothing noble in nothing beautiful in the person doing it, or nothing no beautiful in the deed done. Right? But if anything, something advantageous, and this is less pleasant and lovable. In other words, if anything, something advantageous, something beneficial, and this is less pleasant and noble. What is pleasant is the activity of the present moment, the hope of what is to come, and the memory of what has been. So therefore, this is the pleasant is what? What is pleasant is the activity of the present moment, the hope of what is to come, and the memory of what has been. Most pleasant and lovable too is what pertains to the activity, energia, that sense, that this doing of things, the activity doing of things. For him who has produced it, then the work endures. For what is beautiful or noble, kalos, is long lasting. Whereas for the recipients, its usefulness passes away. So again, in other words, there's two aspects. There's the thing that I'm doing it, and that this produces a nobility. The doing, making of it, the doing of this produces something beautiful, something noble, kalos. But it also conveys to the doer, and it may be an advantage. But the advantage or the benefit, it can pass away. This stays. In other words, ironically, the while it's produced, the work for him who produced it, then the work endures, and what is noble is long lasting, right? Whereas for the recipient, the usefulness of the thing that done passes away, and the memory of noble things, or beautiful things, is pleasant. But that of useful ones is not at all or less so, though the reverse seems to be the case with anticipation. In other words, in regards to anticipation, there's great anticipation of a useful thing. It's very good, but then having it and then remembering it, it's less and less good, right? In other words, noble things seem to preserve the noble. The noble seems to be long lasting in that sense. So the useful pass away. The memory of noble things is pleasant, but of useful ones is not at all, or less so. In other words, it doesn't exist, or if it does exist, it's inferior to that, and less strong than those of that. Though the reverse seems to be the case with anticipation. We anticipate the beneficial more than the noble, because he's saying that's a friendly affection also resembles an act of making. So friendly affection also resembles an act of making, whereas being loved resembles the passive of undergoing. So that's very interesting. Undergoing, making is the creating of something, making of something, the doing and making. But undergoing is having done to you, right? And in other words, so a friendly affection aiming at towards another is a making, whereas being loved resembles a passive undergoing. And loving and the qualities of friendship attend those who excel in action, rather than those who undergo. In other words, it's more aimed at those who are acting, those who excel in acting than doing. And further, all feel more all feel more affection. Yeah, all feel more affection for what arises through painful labor, just as those who have themselves acquired their money feel more affection for it than those who have inherited it. For example, in other words, that the more I struggle, the more when I make something, when I do it, the more I struggle to do it, the more when I result it, I get more feeling of it's more mine. An example of those who make their money, who earn their money and become rich by earning their money, versus those who inherit the money. Right? This is the problem of inherited wealth. Right? Those who inherit it don't have the same love of what the action is as the person, as the one who earned it and they made it. This is the way of friendship. This is the one who does the great affecting. The ones who are giving affection or engaged in doing the action. It has a stronger intensity towards it. Whereas the one who undergoes it, So and further, all feel more affection from what arises through painful labor, hard effort, as he says, just as those who have themselves acquired their money feel more affection for it than those who have inherited it. In other words, that's his example. Right? Being done some good seems to be without toil. In other words, having someone giving you a benefit, you don't do anything, right? Whereas doing someone some good is troublesome, right? So therefore, the fact that this requires effort. Given what he said, that the effort, I feel more. I have more. My memory of the effort gives me more attachment to what was done. Whereas if I just got it, I don't. There's not much effort here. There's not much toil. It happens, and therefore I don't really have a strong passion towards it or feeling towards it. Right. For these reasons too, mothers love their children. Okay, remember this love the children things, right? More than fathers do. That's why. For giving birth is a greater pain to them, and they know to a greater degree that their children are their own. I was being very blunt here. Men, Are you sure the child is yours? You can't know. The woman knows that the child is hers. The woman knows its certainty, the certainty of this, and the pain of giving birth the toil requires work, and because of that, they have a stronger attachment to the child than the father does. And this would seem to be the case also with those who are benefactors. So this metaphor of that the reason why benefactors it's they're going to be more attached to the act of their benefaction, how they give. Therefore, the giver is going to view the thing give more strongly than the one who receives it. The receiver is going to just get it. So he does it two-way. One is kind of the debt argument, right? But that's not really the argument. He talks about the nature of the thing, that there's more intensity of this, and he gives the reason that the labor involved of it does matter. So therefore, here we end this chapter. If you have any comments, questions, or issues, please give it below. And I'll respond to them when I see them. Please, if you've not, if you liked the video, if you thought it was good, please hit the like button. I'm surprised more people aren't looking at these chapters on the ethics. I'm saying, I know people have to read the ethics, and I think this would be a good. I'm doing this series to kind of get people to do it, but I'm not getting the flow. He's an example of this, right? I'm doing all the benefit of and the receivers of not giving it the same attention. I'm the effort I just the equal. This is perfect. Today's chapter is a perfect example of this problem. So hit the like button, please. It doesn't really cost you anything. Please, if you've liked the video, share it with your friends, share it in your social media. This all helps. Hitting the like button and also sharing it helps improve the algorithm for YouTube. If you've not subscribed, please subscribe. Again, this helps the algorithm build the channel. By subscribing, we build the channel some and get more attention. I want to hit a certain number so hopefully we get more attention this way. Getting close to that 500 mark. If we pass the 500 mark, yay! But we'll see what happens. So please encourage your friends to come check the channel out, check the playlist out. You can check the other books we've gone over here, so that you can go check it out and that things. Another thing you can do is, I don't really like what you're doing here, Mr. Bates. You can say no. Why don't you like? Say why in the comments. That way people can benefit. If you didn't like something I did, if you thought I said something wrong or misunderstood something, please check mark, explain why, so that other viewers can benefit from my correcting me in that sense, right? If you want to follow me on social media, the social media links are below to my social media presence, what there is of it. Another thing you can do is if you can another thing you can do is you can that's tough. You can go check out my academic social media. If you want to know more about me as a scholar and as a researcher and check out my research and things like that, you can go to my academic social media. And if that's the case, if you want to help me to do what I do, okay, go to my social media links. They're social media links, and underneath that, it's the academic social media links. They're below the normal social media links. Now, but if you want to help me to do what I do, we don't have I'm not large enough to get a money jar, give you send some money, so I can get nickel and dimed. I don't mind. But if you want to help me do this, because this does, does help, you can do so through links through Patreon and Subscribe Star below, or you can buy one of my books. You can buy it through Amazon, or you buy it at your local bookstore, through online site like Amazon, Barnes & Noble, whatever, or go to the publisher itself. Even though the university, the Warsaw University Press one is only going to sell you an e-copy right now because I think they're out of the hard copies. Well, that's it. Next time we talk, we'll do chapter 8. We'll take care. Bye bye, and have a good day.